that she'd never been Amish was the flower tattoo on the inside of her right arm. It was something she got as a teenager when she wanted to assert herself, or so she'd told me when I wanted one as a child. Tattoos were forbidden in the Amish world, and I always suspected, having grown up in Holmes County, the tattoo was my mother's way of stating her Englishness. My mother's parents passed away before I was born. They were farmers, and she didn't want that for herself or her husband. When she and my father fell in love, he left his Amish district and they ran away to New England. He went to college on a scholarship and got a corporate job, and my mother delved into her first love, painting. She sold her New England landscapes in gift shops around the region. When I was old enough, my parents would leave me in Holmes County for the entire summer. This gave them time to travel and see the world without a child tagging along behind them. During those weeks and months when I was alone with my Amish grandparents, I fell in love with chocolate. I know people say all the time that they love chocolate, but I really did, and do to this day. At 5, I asked my grandfather to teach me the art of candy making, and I never looked back. However, I can't say my parents were pleased with my dream. I refused to go to college and instead enrolled in culinary school with an emphasis on chocolate and desserts. It was my goal to be a world-renowned New York chocolatier, and I almost made it. I was days away from being promoted to head chocolatier at J.P. Chocolates, where I had been the protégé of owner Jean-Pierre Rouge for 6 years, until I walked away from it all to move to Harvest and help my grandmother at Swissman Sweets after my grandfather's death. I knew it was the very last place on earth my parents wanted me to land. Mom and Dad thought I had thrown away my career by leaving New York, but I felt differently. In New York, I was a workaholic. Everything about my life was related to my work. But in Harvest, I could be a new person. I could have a life outside of candy that included friends, a boyfriend, and a bit of sleuthing, too. However, I wondered if my parents' opinion would soon change. In 2 months, my cable television show, Bailey's Amish Sweets, would air on gourmet television. I had been going back and forth between Harvest and New York City for months to shoot the show and publicize its debut. Maybe when my parents saw that I could succeed in both worlds, Harvest and New York City, they would believe that I'd made the right choice. Then again, there were no guarantees when it came to television. "This place has not changed a bit," my mother, Susan King, said the moment she stepped into the shop. "I swear I just traveled back in time. Though I always feel like that when we come back." She shook her head. "I don't know why I expect Holmes County to change." My father, Silas, was far less vocal than my mother. "It is nice to see the old shop." Swissman Sweets was more than just a shop to my father. It was his childhood home. He and my grandparents had lived in the apartment above the shop when he was a child. Charlotte and my grandmother lived there now. I stepped out from behind the counter just in time for my mother to envelop me in a hug. "Bailey!" She smelled like roses and sunscreen, and it reminded me of childhood weekends along the shore. "I'm so glad we are finally here. I thought we would never make it. It's so easy to forget how out of the way Harvest is. It was cow after cow on the drive here. Isn't that true, Silas?" My father smiled at my mother. "It's true. But we really haven't been away from Harvest long enough for you to forget about the cows, my dear. We were here last year." There was a quiet moment when everyone realized this was when they'd come for Dottie's funeral. "I suppose not," she said, passing over the unsaid words. "It's so nice to see you too, Clara." My grandmother smiled and gave each of my parents a hug. "We are glad you came. It will be a very special weekend for us all." She turned to gesture to Charlotte. "And I don't think you have met our cousin, Charlotte." Dad shook his head. "That's the thing about